what the Epstein documents actually reveal about football names in recent weeks. The unsealing of court documents related to Jeffrey Epstein has reignited global attention. Social media exploded. Headlines ran wild. And once again, long list of names began circulating online, including figures from the world of football. But before we go any further, one thing needs to be made absolutely clear. Appearing in these documents does not mean wrongdoing. It does not mean association. And it certainly does not mean criminal behavior. So let's slow this down, cut through the noise, and talk about what these documents actually say and what they don't. When the Epstein-related court files were unsealed, they revealed thousands of pages of material connected to lawsuits and testimonies. Epstein, during his lifetime, was known for interacting with, name-dropping, and referencing a vast number of high-profile individuals from politics, business, entertainment, and sport. That context matters. Among the names that caught attention in football were David Beckham and Lionel Messi. David Beckham, one of the most recognizable footballers in history, appeared in the documents in what was described as a most admired section. Not in an allegation, not in a claim, not in testimony of misconduct, simply referenced as a public figure admired or mentioned in passing. The same applies to Lionel Messi. The Argentine football icon was also named in a similar context, again, not accused of anything, not linked to Epstein socially or criminally, but referenced as a globally admired individual. And this is where social media gets it wrong. In the age of screenshots and out-of-context clips, nuance disappears instantly. A name appears and suddenly the assumption becomes guilt, but legally and factually, that assumption is false. Now let's talk about misinformation, because this is where things became genuinely dangerous. 1. Footballer who found himself wrongly dragged into this narrative was Callum Hudson-Odoi. Social media posts began circulating suggesting his name appeared in Epstein-related documents. That claim was completely false. What actually happened is this: a list circulated online that had nothing to do with Epstein. It was a record of public figures who tested positive for COVID-19. In 2020, somehow that list was misrepresented, reshared, and falsely tied to the Epstein files. Hudson-Odoi had no connection to Epstein, no mention in the court documents, and no relevance to the case whatsoever. Another major name falsely pulled into the chaos was Cristiano Ronaldo. Claims circulated alleging Ronaldo's involvement, but once again, these were completely untrue. The confusion came from a misreading of the documents, where a reference was actually made to a British politician with a similar name. That detail was lost as the rumor spread, and suddenly Ronaldo was trending for something he had absolutely no link to. This is a perfect example of how misinformation spreads faster than facts. The uncomfortable truth is this: the vast majority of people named in these Epstein documents were not accused of any crime. Many were never even connected to Epstein directly. Some were mentioned by others. Some were name-dropped. Some appeared in contact list or passing references. Epstein's world was built on proximity to power and fame, and that meant referencing famous people constantly. But reference does not equal relationship, and relationship does not equal wrongdoing. It's important to remember that the purpose of unsealing these documents was legal transparency, not public shaming. The documents provide context to lawsuits and testimonies, not verdicts. In the football world specifically, there is no evidence, no allegation, and no accusation against Beckham, Messi, Ronaldo, Hudson-Odoi, or any other major football figure. What is clear, though, is how quickly reputations can be damaged in the digital age, not by facts, but by headlines, screenshots, and algorithms. So the takeaway here is simple: read carefully, question viral claims, and understand the difference between being mentioned and being accused. Because once misinformation takes hold, correcting it becomes 10 times harder than spreading it. And in cases like this, that distinction matters more than ever. That's enough BALLsht sports for today.